All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to call to order the City of Charleston Committee on Real Estate to order. Um, Looks like I've got the honor of giving the invocation today. I would just ask everybody to take a moment of silence and let's perhaps reflect on the two Israeli embassy staff members that were brutally killed yesterday evening. All right. I appreciate that. All right. First item up is approval of the April 21st, 2025 meeting minutes. Can I entertain a motion?
Move for approval, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right, moved and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. The ayes have it. First item on our agenda is an ordinance to quitclaim about 50 feet of right-of-way identified as Scott Island Court at Rushton Landing. And this is over on Johns Island. Can I entertain a motion to get this on the floor? And
Move for approval.
Second.
okay, moved and properly seconded. Do we have anybody from the staff that can give us a overview of this one?
Yes, good afternoon. This is Magali. I'm happy to do that.
Thank you.
So I'll quickly do a screen share so you can see the area that we're talking about. If I can find, here we go. So this is the 50-foot right-of-way. The property owner owns this entire contiguous parcel, and this is coming through real estate as a dual track as a request to approve the quitclaim deed. This came to Public Works back in April as part of the request to abandon that right-of-way, so that should be coming to council in June. So if it's the pleasure of the of council and the committee, this would be part of that process. I did want to add that we have a request from CPW for an easement, for a utility easement that we would need to get recorded before any transfer to the property owner. That is on tonight's Public Works agenda. And if there are any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Got it. Thank you so much, Ms. Creech. Any comments or questions from the committee? All right, hearing none. All in favor of approving the quitclaim, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. All right, next item up is an authorization for the mayor to execute a governmental real estate lease with Clemson for the use of 292 and 296 Meeting Street, and this is for a temporary fire station. And this property is owned by our friends in the upstate. Can I entertain a motion to go ahead and get this on the floor?
The proud king talk, I move approval.
Okay.
I was about to say, or Councilmember Waring, Bowden, myself, and Tinkler conflicted out on this one.
Yeah, we all have to recuse. This is all
Yeah.
I
No,
know, man.
just
As long as they make the commitment not to spend that dollar to improve their football team.
Yeah, that's right. This is only $1 a year lease, so this is not going to have tremendous NIL.
Right.
So, all right, we've got a motion on the floor. Ms. Copeland, I saw you turn your camera on. Always dangerous on these.
I know, right? So actually, just a few quick details. This is a 3-year term with 2 one-year options to extend, giving us a total of 5. We're going to go in there and refurbish the single-family home to house the firefighters. And then we're going to demo the dialysis clinic on the corner there of George and Meeting, and install a temporary shelter there for the vehicles. So if you have any other questions, just let me know.
Very interesting. Any comments or questions from the committee?
The only thing I'll say, and this I'm going to say to a bunch of South Carolinians, University of South Carolinians, and that Clemson has been a great partner in helping in this situation. This is to so we can renovate the station on Meeting Street, and they've been just good partners in helping to find a location for a temporary station so we maintain coverage. So just wanted to give them a shout out.
That's great.
And
Appreciate that.
if I can just say, I mean, great job to staff and the mayor for working with, finding a partner who would handle this. I mean, it's going to be expensive enough to renovate something, a station that expensive, let alone all the other priorities that we have for the fire department. So this is a godsend, really. So I mean, I'm going to stop short of praising anybody who arguably doesn't deserve it, but good job by everybody involved, and we're thankful to, as Ross said, our friends in the upstate.
Can't mention their name, huh?
Well, I got on good authority. There's only one day out the year that we don't root for Clemson, and that's just when they play us. That's all.
Mhm. That's right. That's right.
We're not anybody but Clemson fans.
That's correct. I'm just curious, like, how does a temporary fire station work? I mean, are they going to erect a structure for the
Yeah,
trucks?
it's these things come in kind of they're prefab buildings basically, and they're going to take down the old dialysis clinic. So it'll clean up that corner too, because that building's been empty for years. And so they'll put it on that corner there, and we were having a hard time figuring out living quarters for the firemen, and so Clemson owns that single house, and it actually ended up being cheaper to do some pretty modest renovations to that versus bringing in like trailers to house our firemen during the interim.
Great, great. Sounds like really a great outcome here. All right, let's vote. All in favor of the lease with Clemson, please signify support by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. Next item up is an authorization for the mayor to execute an amendment to the lease over at Freddie Whaley Park. This is property owned by Dominion, and this is for an additional 5-year term and an annual $1 a year rent. Can I entertain a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded, and who's got
This one, this is me again. Sorry, Councilman Appel. So Dominion reached out to us. We've had a long-term lease with them for some time now. They've asked for a 5-year extension because they're considering selling this at some point in the future, but they asked if we would extend the lease, which we have so much activity on this spot. I think everyone in staff was in agreement that we should entertain that seriously.
Great.
And this is the location here. There's Haygood, and it's this area here with the courts and the little community center.
Well, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Copeland, you said that at some point in time, I made it sound like sooner rather than later. I mean, within this 5-year period, maybe after, they may be considering selling it.
Well, when you talk to Danny Cassis, that's always an option. So
Yeah. But I mean, we wouldn't want to lose that recreational space. Why don't we talk to them now? I mean, extend the lease, but I mean, why don't we start talking to them now?
Absolutely. And we kind of have but glad to maybe accelerate those conversations.
Yeah, I mean, 5 years from now, I'm sure the price will be higher than it is today. Anyway, just a thought.
Good deal. All right. Any comments or other comments or questions from the committee? Hearing none, all in favor of the additional 5 years, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. All right, moving right along. Item D, This is an authorization for the mayor to execute a deed for approximately 695 square feet over to Charleston County for $2,600 for some intersection improvements over at Wapu and Savannah Highway.
Oh,
Always got to be careful with those decimals.
I know.
It's-
Watch that comma placement there. So this, of course, is Wapu Road here. This is Highway 17 going south. This is part of their intersection improvements for that particular intersection, which requires the acquisition. It's right here in the shaded gray area for curb and gutter purposes.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Any further comments or discussions?
Yeah, could you put the drawing back up, Mrs. Copeland?
Sure.
I'm
Wait
sure
a minute.
you probably got this part figured out, but while you putting it up, when you're on Walpole headed towards Savannah, there's a right turn yield. It's the opposite corner, but a right turn yield. When I looked at that drawing, it looked like the pedestrian pathway was on the Savannah side of the right turn yield.
Hold on one second. Let me try to pull this up again.
Kind of looks like somebody's going to get their block knocked off. Anyway,
So you got the bikeway right here, right?
right.
You talking about right in here?
No, the other side. Right here. Yeah. No. Yeah, right there. Right.
Right here.
That's right. That's the side. Isn't that the side where, anyway, there's a yield now, you can drive through there.
Yeah, this is a little spot here where you can go right without
Right.
stopping at the light.
That's
And
right.
there's already a raised sidewalk here. So people right now are crossing and standing here and waiting and then jumping across.
Okay, good. I see it now. I see where the sidewalk is extended to the back. Because I was thinking, man, I thought the sidewalk was, the cars were in between the pedestrian and the sidewalk, but that's not going to be the case. Well, no, they're doing away with the yield. If you look at
Yeah, it looks like it.
yeah, they're doing away with the yield.
They're going to put it here now.
Correct, right. If they didn't, man, you get your block knocked off. Okay, good. Thank you.
Sure.
All right, I think we've got a motion on the floor. Any further comments or questions?
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Sure.
I'm sure the county would have loved 2 point whatever Ross was about to say, or Councilmember Bell was about to say there, but why $2,600? I'm happy to get money for this, right? But I mean, this not a particularly valuable piece of land. It's critical to a piece of infrastructure for everybody. We're just transferring taxpayer money at the end of the day. And so, I've wondered this with sort of recent negotiations with other government entities, why we need to exchange money for certain things. So how did we get to that number?
Well, the county, when they're doing these intersections, they start with their right-of-way agents, and they run appraisals on the property. And they reached out to us, so the county is paying us $2,600 for that 0.02.
I mean, I'm happy to get it, but at the end of the day, I mean, that sort of thing adds money to their, to their costs, which slows things down. If they have to do that at every intersection with us, it's not going to add a ton, obviously, but I mean, it adds something, and then to negotiate it requires work. So that part of it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But happy to move forward regardless.
Maybe we can waive the right-of-way acquisition costs at this intersection if they'll agree to waive it at Avondale. Do you think they'll go for that, Julia?
I think that's an absolutely fair proposition.
There we go. Maybe we'll work on that.
Yeah, I mean, there's if everything's going to be give and take, the taxpayers are who loses at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, I think you raised a fair point. Stephen, we got to work together with these with our partners all over the place, and there's multiple intersection improvements that are happening right now on Savannah Highway, and there's a lot of talk and give and take, and at the end of the day, our constituents just want to see us all working together. So I think it's
All public money.
that's it.
Yeah, you're right, man. Taking out one pocket and putting right pocket and putting in the left, and vice versa.
Very, very, very true. Very true. But it's great to see this moving forward. And I remember maybe it was last year or the year before, we had some significant matters come before the real estate committee at this intersection with the old Limehouse property. And
Oh
there's
yeah.
a lot of great stuff happening at this intersection. So just didn't want to let that go unmentioned. So a lot of exciting things happening in West Ashley these days. Any further comments or questions from the committee?
Well, let me ask you. I mean, Stephen, Councilman Bowden had a good point. Did we follow up on that, or what? Or have a conversation at a later date, Mr. Mayor? How do we?
Yeah, and look, I mean, I spoke at length with the chairman yesterday and with several council members. So we have I would say right now we are having more communication and collaboration than in a long time. So, and I appreciate all of y'all's connections to the various council members as well. It helps strengthen the bond. And on things like this, I mean, I'll defer a little bit to Julia and Magali, but I think this is just kind of a standard protocol, right? I mean, I get it that
Correct.
unnecessary. I mean, but when it's a higher number, it can be relevant. So, I- we're moving things along pretty quickly right now, I would say, and certainly open on uh, rounding error issues to work with them. But when they came to us, I mean, we've been extremely helpful and have expedited this, I think, pretty quickly. So
Okay.
That is
the
correct,
idea-
Mayor. And to your point, they have asked us to waive in certain situations when the number is higher.
Right. So anyway, I think we need to have that backstop just in case we need it, but because sometimes it can be a decent amount of money, or it's not something that won't be missed, so to speak. So anyway, that's kind of my take on it right now.
Okay.
All right. Y'all ready to vote?
Yeah.
All in favor of the right-of-way deed for the Wapu Savannah Highway intersection, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. The next item on the agenda is an authorization to enter into a license agreement with TMP SRE1 LLC for the continued use of space over at Citadel Mall by CPD
Move
as
for
a
approval.
substation.
Second.
Moved and properly seconded. Ms. Dinwiddie, do you want to share with us some high points on this one?
Yes, sir. Thank you, committee members. This is basically just the same license agreement that we do every year. It's a substation at the Citadel Mall. I've met with Chief and the other PD team members that are there. Everybody's happy with the space. They want to stay there. It's about 650 square foot, and it's a $1 fee. So staff strongly recommends.
Man, this is Dollar Day over at the City of Charleston Real Estate Committee. We're doing some pretty good real estate deals here today. That's great. Well, thank you so much, Ms. Dinwiddie. Any comments or questions from the committee? All right, hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. We've got two annexations up on the agenda today. Can I entertain a motion to approve both?
Yeah. Move approval.
Okay, moved.
Second.
Both of them.
All right, moved and properly seconded. Miss Connor, are these both residential standard annexations?
Yes, that's correct.
Got it. Sounds great. Just wanted to check. Any comments or questions from the committee?
No.
All right, hearing none, all in favor of bringing in these two properties, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the ayes have it. And now for the good of the order, Councilman Waring wanted to bring up an issue for us to talk about today at the Real Estate Committee involving some zoning issues. So, Councilman
did.
Waring, if you'd like to have the floor, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Actually, I've been in discussions with Lee Batchelder, which eventually led to Mr. Morgan, about creating smaller lots, a zoning category that would entertain smaller lots. And an amendment was proposed. That's what I would like to do, propose an amendment to SR 6. I think the minimum lot size is 35 feet, and it would take it down to 27 feet. One of the impetus for this was I was told about a development. Apparently, the chairman knew about it, but I drove several weeks ago to Hanahan. I think it's a Bowens development, and it was very well planned. Mixed use development, apartments, some limited retail office, and it goes into smaller houses and then larger houses. And one of the areas they had were cottages, and the cottages were around about 900 square feet. And they started in the mid 250s. That's what it said on the sign. I'm sure they all gone. But the part that impressed me about it is that's private sector creating affordable owner occupied houses. Didn't have I actually talked to the realtor handling it. It doesn't have government subsidies or anything like that. And it occurred to me, we couldn't do that in the city of Charleston unless it was through a PUD. Now, I'm sure that probably was a PUD, but there are many opportunities, West Ashley, James Island, maybe even Upper Peninsula, where we would have infill opportunities if we had the right to do, let's call them smaller houses. If you go, most of the houses, a lot of the houses originally in Burnsdown and Moreland areas and Ashleyville and Maryville and Ashley Forest, you go back into after World War II and the 50s and 60s when they were built, they were 900, maybe 1,000 square feet. And so a lot of them were on smaller lots. So anyway, you ride around the city of Charleston, you can find smaller lots that you build on, but we can't do that West Ashley, can't do it James Island and some of the larger portions of the city. So I thought it was a minor amendment, again, taking it from 35, I believe, to 27 feet wide. If we could get it in front of council, we could send it to planning commission. Obviously, they can kick it around and send it back to us, or to send it to community development fund. But it's just we'd save a lot of time instead of taking 6 months, 5 or 6 months to make this change. As you know, we enter the summer months and we only meet once a month during the 3 months of the summer. I touched bases with you, Mr. Mayor, on it, certainly the chairman, and obviously I sent it to Ms. Copeland and some people in the planning department. So that's my issue that I'd like to have heard, Mr. Chairman.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate you bringing that forward. And, certainly here at the Real Estate Committee, we don't have direct purview over zoning matters, to my chagrin. I wish we did. But I think certainly I understand you've spoken with Councilman Gregory and Councilman Mitchell over at CD, and
right,
seems like they're okay with it. Well, I certainly think I don't think we can vote on anything today, but I think that certainly reporting this out and getting it started in the normal rezoning text amendment process is the procedure we can follow here.
Well, again, we can carry the conversation forward to council, but if council so desired, after that discussion, they could make a motion if approved and sent it to the planning commission. Any comments on that? Not
Yeah,
really.
I'd be totally in favor of that, as well as, really exploring, other sort of inventive ideas like that, to, achieve what's been in the news recently as the, missing middle. I mean, I think that's like the quintessential missing middle. When you talk about, hearkening back to a time when they literally created the middle class.
Right.
I think that's a key driver of economic stability is having affordable housing, of attainable housing, really. And the only way we're going to get there is by allowing market forces to work with something like that.
Well, thank you, Councilmember. I tell you, if you have a house, and we all know this, and most of us here are fortunate to have a home. I feel sympathy for the young people who are renting today at these high rents. And it used to be you could rent a place, save some money for a down payment, and then you get a house. By the time these young folk finish paying rent, they don't have a whole lot to save for a down payment. And the cost of a entry-level house, just houses in general, just increasing exponentially. So, but I was really impressed how the private sector, remember a 2x4, as I said very recently, doesn't cost any more in Hanahan than it costs in the city of Charleston. A large component of that is the land cost. And obviously, some of the process you have to go through. But if we can kind of structure something that can go towards infill, I think it'd be hopefully the private sector would pick up on that, as well as maybe some city-owned land. We can employ some of the same strategies. But our strategy cannot be just government building affordable housing only. Housing authority, our city of Charleston, somehow we got to try it, jumpstart the private sector saying, hey, we'll put our money and come up with a product that hopefully either on the entry level, or if a senior citizen wants to downsize and come to a smaller place. I don't really see that many units of 1,000 square foot or thereabouts being built in the city of Charleston. I just don't. And
I think
it's going to be over $500,000.
I think it's an interesting point, and I appreciate you, bringing it to our attention. And I certainly have no opposition to moving it to council agenda and discussing on the floor.
Thank you, sir.
Great. Great.
All right. Now, I appreciate your patience, Mr. Chairman, and all of
Oh,
members on this Zoom meeting.
no, I mean,
On this one, but
hey, you want to talk zoning? You want to talk deregulation? You want to talk about missing middle? I'm here for it. I think this is the right conversation to be had. This stuff can get technical and detailed once you start getting into the weeds, but the first part of the process is us bringing the idea forward, having staff taking a closer look at it, planning commission taking a closer look at it, and we can hopefully make some much needed reform, because you're right, we got to find a way to make market affordable housing more of a reality. I mean, we see market innovation in all other sectors of our economy that brings down costs and innovates in all these different ways. And that just has not happened in housing for a very long time. And a lot of it is due to the fact that our regulations sort of force a higher value product onto the market, right?
Right.
It's almost as if like government, it's like if the EPA made it so you could only have BMWs out on the road, well, then you're going to have a car affordability problem. But, we got Kias, we got BMWs, we got everything in between. And we got to see more of that in housing. And, I think it's going to call on us to examine some of our traditional zoning practices and loosen up some restrictions, and looking at practices around the community. I mean, we've seen it in more modern developments like Ion and Bowen, but look no further than the peninsula and historic development patterns where people were doing a lot of creative things before zoning. So I think it's great, and appreciate you bringing it forward. Any other comments for the good of the order?
I'll tell you one thing, Mr. Chairman, if you do know some of the principles on that, I wouldn't mind having taking them to lunch or something, because it'd be great to find out how did they come to that concept, because they could have built larger homes and where they built the cottages. They came to the economy of scale to say, hey, if we do this, this also can be profitable and obviously have an entry-level product for the private sector to buy. They got some creative juices I'd like to listen to, tell you that.
I'd be happy to connect you with the guy behind Bowen and the guy behind Ion. They're in my cell phone.
All right. Good deal.
I see Miss Connor raising her hand.
Just a mistake. My bad. Sorry.
Oh, I thought you were going to join in on the zoning fun we were having. Maybe next time.
We'd love to. Super soon.
There we go. Anybody have any other comments? And we'll go ahead and close it out. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Hope everyone has a great Memorial Day, and look forward to seeing y'all in person on Tuesday.
Good deal.
Good.
All
Y'all
right.
take care. We're
All right.
adjourned.
Thank you.